Hello, fellow ICOPs and other World of Worshippers. This is Sir Hammer, and today we're going to be talking about the Tier 10 Italian battleship, the Cristoforo Colombo. So this is actually a favorite ship of mine. In fact, it is my most played ship at somewhere around 180 games, which for me is a lot because I tend to bounce around. But this ship has a special place in my heart because I have a lot of fun with it. So first you'll notice there's a bit of a replay bug here. I don't know why, but it's only showing my team's ships, and it doesn't show the enemy roster. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. That's a new one as far as wargaming goes, and I highly doubt they'll fix it, but we'll see. So anyway, with that, let's talk about the Cristoforo Colombo. Its main feature is it has 16 guns. That is the most guns of any battleship in the game. However, these guns are pretty small. They're only 380s, so they only overmatch 26, and the secondary battery is pretty crap. Most of them are 90 millimeters, which will only pin 15 millimeters of armor, which you'll probably recognize as destroyer armor. You're not really going to do anything against, well, really anything other than destroyers. They're really just for setting fires. So even though the secondaries suck, I actually have a secondary build right now, which is not going to come into play very much in this game. But if you're wondering why I decided to build the secondaries, it's not on purpose. I have this captain in the Giuseppe Verdi, which you do build for secondaries, and I just decided to keep the build so I wouldn't have to respec him. Anyway, this is a game of Airship Escort, the newest mode from Wargaming, and the general goal is to take that little airship that says hold back or escort to the end point you see in the far east there. There's a little anchor on the minimap. You have to take your airship there. The way you move the ship is you put a DD. Oh, not necessarily DD. I was just looking at our Z44. But you put a ship that is usually a DD in the circle there. You'll see on the minimap there's a little green circle, and on the enemy side there's a little red circle. You just put somebody in that, and it'll move the airship along faster than it normally does. It will move on its own, but very slowly. One of the better things you can do as well is get in the enemy cap and your cap at the same time, and it will move your ship extra fast. So this game is all about being consistent and staying with the airship. So with that being said, I'm gonna show you this quick little game here. This is gonna be over pretty quick. I think this is one of the fastest games I've seen decided quickly in my time playing World of Warships. Like, the game doesn't end quickly, but you see here in like within 2 minutes the game's over. So what I'm trying to do here, because the enemy is going to be forced to stay in that cap, I'm going to try and get angles on these guys, which is what the Colombo is really, really good at, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But right now, I'm just using all of these mountains here on Shatter, and I'm just trying to get close. Just get as close as I can, and I spot an enemy Colbert. We're going to pump him with a little bit of sap and see what happens. Yeah, there you go. 16 barrels of sap, ladies and gentlemen. Quite the thing to behold. Yeah, so we're a couple minutes in, and we've already got a kill and 40,000 damage. So what I'm going to try to do here, now that I've got a couple people shooting at me, is I'm going to act like I'm going to turn hard right, but then I'm going to smoke up and cut back to the left. This is something the Colombo is very good at. You can mislead your enemy as to your actions, and it can force people to make choices they wouldn't normally make, and you can really punish that because you've got 16 guns. So you'll see we have a Hydro popped up. I really don't know who that is yet. In game, I'm expecting that it's the Pommern, but as you'll soon find out, it's actually a Cleveland, which we overmatch because the Cleveland only has 25 millimeter bow armor. So you see I hot swap to AP, which is another feature of the Italian battleships. And we just obliterate this guy. Again, another one shot. So now we're about 3 minutes into the game, and we have almost 80,000 damage. Well, as I was saying before I so rudely dev-struck this man, is that the Italian battleships can hot swap very quickly, especially with Sansonetti. And you'll see I just swapped to SAP from AP, and it only took about 8 seconds. So that's kind of one of the main features of these battleships, is they want you using the correct ammo in the correct scenario, and they give you the tools to do it. And oh my goodness, we have dev-struck a third person. Well, I didn't get a dev-struck medal, but we're gonna go ahead and say that was a devastating strike. Yeah, so we're about 4 minutes in, and we already have 100,000 damage and 3 kills. This game's over. I mean, as you can see, people are still sailing around and shooting, but there's really nothing the enemy team can do to come back from this, because my team has just taken out the Pommern that was escorting the enemy airship, and with that, they don't really have anyone to move it. And if you look in the top middle, you'll see that our airship is moving 30 knots, and theirs is moving 6 knots. So it is safe to say, with all the people that we have in our cap and the absolute lack of people in their cap, that we're going to win this very quickly. And basically my job is over. That's really all that happens in this game. So I will go back and contribute in the middle, but there's a lot of sailing in between. So with that out of the way, I'm going to talk to you about the Colombo a little bit. The Colombo is what I would describe as kind of a brawler, but not a like sustained brawler. How something like a Pommern or a GK has really good secondaries and really, really good armor, and it wants to get in the fight and it wants to stay in the fight. The Colombo can do that a little bit, but it really loses its power the longer you are in a fight. You want very short, intermittent, close range brawls. So you want to pop out from cover, you want to blast people with your 16 guns, you want to pop behind cover. And if you don't have cover, you have your own cover in the form of a smokescreen, which makes this ship hilarious because it reinforces its own playstyle very well. And you can get some pretty crazy results. As you just saw, I dev-struck 3 people within 4 minutes of the match starting. Pretty incredible. I'm not trying to tell you that this ship is super competitive and the best tier 10 ship that has ever existed. It's really not. It can get punished by a lot of things. It burns pretty well in that you have good armor, so people are just going to try to HE spam you to death, so that you will just burn out, because a lot of people won't be able to get you with the AP, except for other battleships. But even then, they will tend to HE spam you, so prepare for that. And you don't have a lot of health. You can see that I have, on the left hand side, 89,900 HP. That is not a whole lot of HP for a tier 10 battleship. In fact, I think it's second lowest, with I think the Burgoyne is the lowest. I'm not sure if that's true, since things like Mecklenburg have been added. I'll have to take a look at it, but it's definitely on the bottom of the list. So this ship being good at brawling is really good for airship escort. And again, I don't mean brawling in the sustained sense, I mean the quick in and out kind of sense. Almost kind of like the Italian destroyers are meant to do. It's kind of the same deal. They really have the whole, you want to just pop out, smoke up, run away kind of play style, which they are very good at. But yes, the Colombo is very good for airship escort. We don't know how long airship escort is going to be around. At the time I'm making this video, it is just in testing as a limited time mode, and they have not put it into randoms, but I know they're talking about putting it into randoms, so we'll see what happens with that. If it does end up in randoms, hey, maybe the Colombo is something you want to take more often into randoms, because it does really well in this mode. because you know where people are going to be. They're going to be following the airship. So if you know where people are going to be, it's really easy to get angles on them. And my god, when you have 16 guns, which you're about to see are 360 degrees in the back, you can get all of them on target frequently, and you can pump out a ridiculous amount of damage very quickly. So this ship does incredibly well for this kind of playstyle. And it's why it's one of my favorite ships, because it's really satisfying to one-shot somebody, especially a pesky Colbert. So as you'll see, this game is now actually almost completely over. The enemy Colombo is in the back of the map, which if you listen to anything I just said, you'll know is not how you play the Colombo. But in his defense, he does not have much choice in the matter, because he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, 8 people currently shooting at him. Yeah. And you'll see someone even mentions that, but yeah, he's out, and there's really nobody else to defend except one DD, which is why I smoked up, because I just kind of wanted to obfuscate my position a little bit, and if he throws torps at me, he doesn't exactly know where to aim them. But again, that's a little overthinking it, because this game's over. But I really hope you guys enjoyed that. The Colombo, again, probably my favorite ship in the game. It's just a blast to play. I highly encourage that you try it out. Don't let the grind turn you off of this ship. The grind to the Colombo is pretty rough, but it's worth it. Well, anyway, with that, I hope you enjoyed this short video. This was Sir Hammer. Thanks for watching.